Upholstering a dining room chair. First we need to remove the staples or nails holding the damaged fabric in place. Turn the chair upside down and start to remove the staples or nails one by one. You could buy an upholstery staple nail remover, but I just modified an old flat screwdriver by cutting a small notch with a hacksaw. Many of the staples are stubbornly hard to get out, so you can use a small hammer or pliers to tap the removal tool to get underneath the staple or nail head. Thin nose pliers also come in handy when the staple doesn't come out in one piece. This is a laborious task, so be patient. Once all the staples are removed, invert the chair and pull back the cover. You'll find several layers of upholstery foam and padding which needs to be removed. This particular chair has green elastic webbing spanning in two directions. The webbing is terrible as the centre of the seat just sinks in, so I cut them out and then remove more staples. I prefer not to use the elastic webbing again for the seat base and decided to use some offcuts of 18mm MDF board. I flipped the seat over again to remove the last piece of the cover, which is attached to the base of the backrest frame. But first I need to make a cardboard template which follows the seat perimeter. As I'm using MDF offcuts, I needed two pieces to make the seat base. I place the template towards one edge and draw the perimeter. I now use a circular saw with the MDF on polystyrene and make the necessary cuts. This could also be done using a jigsaw or a handsaw. As the blade is circular, these corner cuts need to be finished using a handsaw. I prefer to use a Western copy of a Japanese pool saw, as they cut the MDF so easily and they're very precise. Now to screw in the seat base. I drill the countersunk pilot hose to avoid cracking the MDF. Before putting the base in place, I decided to reinforce the centre join with an old strip of wood. This was probably overkill, but what the heck. Seat foam comes in various depths. I noted that the majority of upholsters prefer to use the 2-inch foam, but that was super expensive and they only sold it in 8 by 4 foot sheets. I decided to take a more economical route and bought an 8 by 4 foot sheet of 3/4 inch foam. I will sandwich 2 layers of this foam together and then have another layer of padding on top before the vinyl cover. First I will use my cardboard template to help me mark out the shapes to be cut from the foam. You can cut the foam using a sharp blade or scissors. My scissors are actually quite blunt, but the padding will hide any errors. I am using upholstery glue spray to stick the foam to the MDF base. This glue needs to be applied to the MDF and the foam. Now onto the second layer of foam. As before, it needs to be applied to both layers. Here is the padding, and for this particular chair it will be wrapped around the base edges, so I will cut at least 3 inches extra for every side. The central part of the padding also needs to be glued down to the foam, and the padding also needs to be passed through the rear gap. I will start by nailing the padding taut on the sides by using 2 staples on the centre point for one edge. Then I pull the opposing side taut and put in another 2 staples in the centre point. I repeat the same process for the front and the rear. Now to trim and staple the padding around the upper parts of the front 2 legs. My work would be far easier if this was a drop-in type seat, but with this particular seat the padding and the outer vinyl will wrap around the very upper part of the front 2 seat posts. Once they are done I can staple the sides completely, working from the centre and then moving outwards. Now I do the same for the remaining edges. On to cutting the vinyl wrap, which is the same procedure as cutting the padding, remembering to have around 3 inches extra on each side after wrapping around the lower edges. I make 2 small cuts here at the rear so the material can pass through the rear 2 posts. Now to start positioning the vinyl around the seat edges. 2 to 3 staples again in the centre point for each edge, and remember to keep the material taut when you staple the opposing side. Trimming off some more excess material. If the vinyl is difficult to stretch around the corners, you can make it more flexible by warming it with a hairdryer. Here I need to double back the edge of the material around the top of the front leg and at the same time keep the edge horizontal. I am using upholstery tacks here to hold the material in place, as staples or nails would look ugly. It can be tricky trying to space and align the tacks, but if you have a helper, I would suggest at this point to mark the correct tack positions with a soapstone or marking pencil, which can easily be removed afterwards. Now to tension and staple all the remaining vinyl. Try to keep the amount of creases to a minimum. Now to staple back the original dust cover material. All finished, so hopefully the chair will have a few more years of life. Meanwhile, I'll be learning how to make my own customer chairs. If you have any comments or questions, please put them below. If the video was useful, please consider giving it a like or subscribing to my channel. Many thanks.